to go back to our headline story.
Yes.
Ant-Man. Ant-Man did not benefit.
No, no.
After having a very weak opening, okay, for a Marvel movie that cost $200 million, $105-ish million opening weekend is a very weak opening.
hmm Yeah.
For reference, we pulled up a couple other movies. Thor: Love and Thunder from the summer, opening weekend, 144 million. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness conned people into 180 million.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
That's a
187 million in the
yeah,
U.S. in its
yeah.
opening weekend.
That's a good way of putting it. Conning. Yeah.
Yes. We kind of had a feeling that it was going to be a bad drop. Like it just edges out Thor: Love and Thunder's 68 million. Doctor Strange had a 67 million percent, or 67 million, 67% drop. Yeah,
Yeah.
67 million% drop.
Especially
The
with
theaters charged Disney back
yes.
$1 billion. No,
Yeah.
but when your opening is near 200 million, you really don't have anywhere to go but down. So
Yeah.
that's more understandable. But when you come in it with like a little bit more than half of Doctor Strange's opening, and you manage to make a
Yeah.
70 million or 70% drop, that's no good.
No. No, that is not good at all. It doesn't bode well for it doesn't bode well for the movie.
Yeah. Now, I was looking at comparables. Spider-Man, Spider-Man,
European Vacation.
Spider-Man European Vacation actually came in at. By the way, can we please next Spider-Man movie not have the word "home" somewhere in the title? Please,
Yes.
please.
I agree. Yes.
It makes it very confusing to talk about.
Yeah.
But this movie actually opened it up to a $92 million opening, which is interesting.
hmm
Um, although it legged out and actually beat its the numbers.com projection because people like
Yeah.
their Spider-Man and went back to it.
Yeah.
That was a fun movie.
Yeah, yeah, it was, and nice little. We were talking before the show. It was a nice little epilogue to Endgame.
Right. It's basically Peter dealing with the grief of losing Iron Man at the same time the audience is also dealing with the grief of losing Iron Man.
Yeah,
But now it came in less, but that was also at a time when movie tickets were considerably cheaper. So
Mhm.
way more butts sat in seats, especially internationally.
Yes,
Like the difference here is that this movie grossed nearly twice as much internationally as it did domestically, where for an Ant-Man here, they are more or less neck and neck
yeah,
for those international versus domestic sums. By the way, we talked earlier. We talked last week about how Box Office Mojo accidentally added the U.S. gross to it twice, making it look like it had a $370 million combined opening weekend.
oh yeah, yeah.
Nearly 3 weeks out, we have not yet met that number.
Oof. Yeah, that is not good. And I said this last week when we were looking at its opening weekend, and and I know Chris Gore said the same thing, which great minds think alike, I guess.
Yep.
That the hardcore Marvel fans all went out to see it opening weekend,
Yep.
and of course they went to it because they like they're hardcore Marvel fans and they didn't want to get spoiled. And then they they said okay, that was all right, or maybe they either said it was okay or they hated it and they don't, or for whatever reason they don't want to go see it again.
Right.
And you see this huge drop off.
And I'd almost wondered if Ant-Man would be spared that. Even despite the bad review ratings, the audience supposed to seem to like it, which we talked about last week. How,
Yeah,
it, um, or at least we've talked about it before. I think that the Rotten Tomatoes audience score is one of the less useful indicators,
yeah.
um, because well, even outside of any shenanigans that they might pull with it, um,
hmm
if it's overwhelmingly positive, That's people self-selecting who would like this type of movie, especially in a well-established franchise like this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody like anybody who's tired of Marvel just didn't go. But
Yeah.
I thought that it's starting off with a lower number and not having a lot of competition, it might land more softly.
Yeah.
No.
No.
70% drop. That makes
Yeah.
it the harshest drop in MCU history, starting with a relatively small number too.
Yeah. Yeah, that it's doesn't, and I doesn't bode well for the MCU because I mean it's we've been talking about Marvel fatigue for a couple of years now, and I think we're really starting to see the results of that. We're really starting to see it coming through.
Yeah, I thought this was right. You know what other movie had a 70% drop in second week? Ang Lee Hulk.
Oh, I never saw that movie, but I heard it was really bad.
I enjoyed it, but I also didn't have a very discerning taste at the time. So I probably just liked, oh, it's the Hulk and it's a comic book movie. Oh, and they're doing this thing like, the extra panels look like comic book panels. That's cool and not stupid.
Yeah, and directed by the guy who did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Didn't he also do Brokeback Mountain?
Yes.
Then again, Heath Ledger was in Brokeback, so that isn't the kiss of death.
No, that's true.
But anyway, yeah, this is especially bad for this movie because like the Eternals bombing, that damages the brand slightly, but it doesn't hurt the ongoing narrative because Daniel, I think you were the one who subjected yourself to us being our Disney Plus correspondent.
Yeah.
That is now your new title.
Oh yeah, yay.
um, that movie didn't really set anything up of importance for future movies going forward, right?
Kind of. You had the celestial that was living inside Earth, which I think is going to come up in the new Captain America.
Oh,
Because from what I've heard, or at least from the rumors I've heard, they discover adamantium in the celestial.
huh.
Yeah, so that's how they're bringing adamantium and the X-Men into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it does end on a cliffhanger.
That cliffhanger is never getting paid off, is it?
Yeah, no, it's never going to get paid off.
Uh, So here's the problem making this whole interconnected universe thing, and this is similar to the problem that Ant-Man is going to have.
Hmm.
Uh, if nobody sees the darn thing,
Yeah,
they're going to be so confused when you bring it up.
yeah, yeah, and they're going to be really confused when they see Kang. Like, who's this Kang
Yeah,
guy? What?
yeah, because Loki was the most widely viewed Marvel show by various metrics, I believe.
Hmm.
So people would have a much better chance of recognizing Kang from that.
Yeah.
But the big problem is that you keep introducing multiverse Kangs, and while that is part of the character, do you know how confusing that is for casual moviegoers? Like,
Yeah.
like one of the biggest mistakes that they made in the Snyderverse, I distinctly remember sitting in front of the TV on Super Bowl Sunday when the Batman v Superman trailer came out. My
Yeah.
grandmother goes, "I thought Superman and Batman were both good guys. Why are they fighting?"
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and the other thing too, with oh god, what was I gonna say? Um, oh, I can't remember. I, I
It
lost.
sounds
I
like you
lost my.
had the same kind of week I had.
Yeah. Oh, it was with the multiverse stuff. So an interesting little thing came to my attention. Um, so we all know, that how Jessica Gao was the head writer on She-Hulk.
Hmm.
She was a writer on Rick and Morty.
I see where you're going with this.
Well. Here's the thing: she's not the only former Rick and Morty writer that's working for Marvel now. Apparently Kevin Feige's a big fan of Rick and Morty.
Oh no.
So you got these two other Rick and Morty writers. One of them was the writer on Quantum Mania, and the other one, I believe he's writing the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, I think the same guy who wrote Kang Dynasty wrote this movie.
Yeah, and there was another guy. And then the other one wrote Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, so it's just
It's like,
okay. I'm going to be very mean for a second here.
okay,
Rick and Morty is not a good show. You might find it funny, but that's different than being a good show. Like
yeah,
Family Guy is not a good show in the same way that Latter Day Simpsons is not a good show. Like you
hmm
can have episodes that are you think are hilarious
yeah,
because they take a premise and execute on it.
hmm
But like from like a character perspective, a lot of these, especially like Adult Swim shows like Rick and Morty, are devoid of character progression and the ability to take themselves seriously. Like
yeah,
Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Nobody really cares about the characters from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. You can enjoy their shenanigans, but it's just going to be reset the next episode.
yeah.
Rick and Morty plays in much the same ballpark.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, Ninja Toast says Rick and Morty was a mistake. Yeah,
It turned out to be. I
yeah,
remember like watching the first couple of seasons and thinking, "Oh, this is that Futurama feel I haven't seen for a while."
yeah, and they were taking basically taking Back to the Future
Hmm.
and twisting it into something really very nihilistic and almost psychotic.
Yeah, so like I can only watch so much of that, but they are
Yeah,
definitely not the people that you bring in to have serious takes on characters you want the audience to give a darn about.
yeah, yeah, and just because they wrote a show about where a character, there are multiple versions of this character and everything is like, okay, that
And I'm going to give an example. Do you know who John Schwartzwelder is?
I don't.
He is a prolific writer of Simpsons episodes.
Okay,
That's your episodes he was responsible for off the top of my head. Oh, geez, he like there's like more than 30 or 40 of them just from the early seasons.
okay.
Um, if you remember the joke with Homer, if you watch the commentary tracks on The Simpsons for those early seasons, uh, you'll hear the writers frequently say, "Yeah, that was a Schwartzwelder joke," or "That is the most Schwartzwelder scene I've ever seen." If you like, like classic one from Homer jumps out of the shower, picks up the phone. Hello, you'll have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
Yeah.
The writers immediately said, "Yeah, that was a Schwartzwelder joke." So John Schwartzwelder wrote a series of novels that he self-published.
Mm.
The first novel of which I read was called "The Time Machine Did It." Imagine a whodunit novel with a time travel flair, written by the guy who is the zaniest writer from The Simpsons. You do not actually care about anything that happens to the detective.
Yeah.
It's just like, do you find these weird scenarios he keeps finding himself in funny or not?
Yeah.
Like, you can't really do character growth for a character like that who's basically a meaner version of Homer Simpson,
Yeah.
who's there to get punched in the gut and make jokes about, I'm 180 pounds of pure muscle covered by 50 pounds of protective flat or flab, and this is why.
Yeah.
like uh,
Yeah.
so you can't have people whose skill set is deconstruction, a little bit of nihilism, and expect them to come out with stories that actually are like stories,
Yeah.
because the trailers, from everything I've heard, lied to us, because the trailers made it look like it was about Ant-Man trying to get the lost years he had back with his daughter,
Right. Yeah.
both from being in jail and the blip.
Yeah.
The movie is not about that. The movie is about Kang.
Oh, jeez.
And like there's like a little bit of that, but it's not important.
Oh, jeez.
That's everything I've heard. Because like the movie I described could have been interesting, but nope,
Nope.
we
That's not
can't
what they
have
did.
nice things.
Nope, we can't. Yeah.
So uh, so basically, the other problem is that. And we kind of got derailed by this, by the realization that they are actually going to try to tie Eternals into this for some godforsaken reason. The
Yes.
problem with this being Kang's movie introduction is that it's not a well received movie by the audience or fans.
Mhm.
I think let's just go ahead and box office mojo Ant Man. Oh, box office Rotten Tomatoes. I'm so used to not looking at Rotten Tomatoes anymore
Yeah.
that Quantumania. So as of IMDb Pro, come on Google, get
You still got Mojo in the search bar.
oh
There you go.
so I do. Okay, so 83% on Rotten Tomatoes,
No, we're not. We're not enabling as Rotten Tomatoes.
48% critical rating, suspiciously high audience score considering everything I've heard actual people who watched it say about it.
Yeah.
But that's like what I was talking about before. This is the self-selection of people who thought they were going to be interested in this being the ones to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. In the words of Kyle from South Park, shenanigans.
I call shenanigans.
Yeah.
But anyhow, um, if like way fewer people than the previous Marvel movies went to see this one,
Mhm.
when you try to bring Kang around next time, you're in kind
Mm.
of bad shape.
Yeah.
Also, I hate this Kang makeup they gave him because it looks
Yeah.
like that one meme of the guy sweating bullets that everybody always posts.
Oh yeah, Jordan Peele. Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Peele sweating bullets. Like because of how they did it, it looks like he's constantly like nervous
Yeah. He's
flop
constantly.
sweating.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it doesn't help
every
it that he's sweating in that picture. I mean,
yeah,
it's
every
yeah.
time I see it, it looks like he's just uncomfortable and afraid, which is not what you want for your next antagonist.
Yeah. You're Thor level or you're not Thor, Thanos level antagonist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like the fact that everyone's just trying to like talk about him, like talk about the actor himself, tells you like the spin they're trying to put on this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of like the live action Masters of the Universe. Yeah, that movie was terrible, but Frank Langella was really good in it as Skeletor, or Street Fighter. Yeah, that movie was terrible, but Raul Julia as Bison was amazing. Yeah,
Which okay, that part's accurate,
that part is yeah that part is accurate.
but so I think we can stop. He's already dead.
Yeah, yes.
It's not a good start. It tells you that whatever audience wanted to see this movie is not going back to see it again. They aren't telling their friends to see it again, which means that even if what Jonathan Majors, is that the guy's name,
Yeah,
is the best Kang to ever Kang, and he's
yeah.
amazing. That message is not getting out there. So when you have to build up to the Kang dynasty in count them, 2 years,
2 years. Yeah,
because that's when they're scheduled to bring out the Kang dynasty is in 2025. You don't have a lot of time to build him up.
yeah. Oh, and, hey, do Rhino? Good to
Hey
see
man,
you. Yeah, no worries.
uh,
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, they built Thanos up for 6 years. I mean,
yeah, showing him little by little.
yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy was the most we really saw of him up until a certain
Hmm.
point, and even then, he's just established as the bigger threat that's behind the small threat of that movie.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think the reaction to this movie is having larger consequences, like
Mhm.
the Marvels. We did our upcoming movie release for 2023.
Yeah.
Look ahead. We reported this in July. It's now coming out in November.
Ooh.
And bonus story, it sounds like multiple sources, including Grace Randolph,
Mm.
who I would call on the opposite side of the Midnight's Edges of the world.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, Her rumors seem to confirm that they did not do well in test screenings. Because of
Mm.
why would it? You've put together three characters whose only commonality is they happen to have the name Marvel as part of their superhero name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And yeah.
from two of them introduced in TV shows and have not been in a movie, and one of them in the most, how to put it, conveniently timed movie release in history.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boy, you talk about a con, man.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I want the 2 hours I spent on that watching with my dad at home back,
Yeah.
please.
Yes. Yes. Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
But but still, but still, um,
Yeah.
this this is a sign that they might be finally starting to realize, ah, crap, this phase is not going well. The last
Yeah.
phase didn't go well, but now we actually have to now we can't hide behind Disney Plus subscriber numbers to make up for a lack of money making.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wall Street is getting wise to us.
Yes. Yeah. And they might end up going like full, Warner Brothers Snyderverse panic mode. Like, oh God, what are we gonna do? We gotta stop this now. Stop it.
Stop, stop, stop.
Yeah.
Uh, I think there is a really decent chance we never actually see the Echo or Agatha Harkness TV shows. They're supposedly delayed right now, but well, we've seen from
Yeah.
Disney Star Wars how much you can announce things and delay and delay and delay. Oh, whoops, where'd it go? Where's
Yeah.
it on the
Yeah.
update schedule?
Yeah.
Oops.
It's still waiting on that trilogy from Ryan Johnson.
Yeah. And by the way, in case you wonder, well, maybe Ant-Man will develop some sort of legs. Let's look at what else it has coming up around it. First off, it barely fought off Cocaine Bear, an R-rated
All right.
movie
Yeah.
called Cocaine Bear
Cocaine
that
Bear.
came
Yeah.
out in 800 less theaters.
Yes. Directed by Elizabeth Banks.
Yes. Um, it, it also, Jesus Revolution came out and did pretty decently.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's actually a fun faith-based movie, which is rare. A rare sentence
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. Yeah.
But we have a bunch of other things that have just been here filling out the top 5 and top 10. Nothing really
Yeah.
new. But it comes out tomorrow, and I had forgotten that time had
Mhm.
moved this quickly. The new
Yeah.
Demon Slayer movie. And I'm going to be very curious to see how this does this weekend.
Yeah. I am too. Yeah.
Because the first one released during 2021 in the States, its opening weekend. Of course, there's nothing left for this movie. 1 second.
Mm.
This movie in the U.S. during the depths of lockdownerism uh, opened to 22 million in the States and ended with just shy of 50 million. Remember that this is a world
Yeah.
where Dragon Ball Superhero was the top movie of the week in August and made 22 million in its opening.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And Demon Slayer is ridiculously popular with the kids and
Yeah.
with the weebs at my work. Like multiple people at my office have Demon Slayer figures sitting on their desks. This has potential to I don't know. This could depending on how widely they release this could potentially hit 100 million. Which
Yeah.
that's the audience that Ant-Man wants, but it's not
Yeah.
serving properly.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Actually, I wonder if they have let's see here. Do they have anything about how many screens? Nah, I guess it's gonna have to be something we're looking to next week. Darn.
Darn. Yeah.
But I can tell you, I've read ahead in the manga. I've been looking forward to seeing this animated.
Hmm. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I think I might. I think I watched like the first episode of this, and then for some reason, I didn't. I didn't keep up with it. I have to go back and get back into it.
Yeah, it's I would not recommend watching one of the movies without watching at least the first season first, because here's what's unique about the Demon Slayer movies.
Yeah.
Most shonen series, if you have a movie for I don't know, Fairy Tale, Dragon Ball, whatever, it is
Right.
not in continuity, and it's just we came up with a villain. It's the heroes find the villains with the power-ups that were in the most recent season of the anime.
Mhm.
Lather, rinse, repeat until cancellation.
Ah. Yeah.
So it's like inconsequential villains who are defeated relatively easily. You're just there because you want to see Deku punch a new villain in the face on the big screen with a higher budget.
Ah, yeah.
Demon Slayer, uh, they actually are adapting the story proper. So what they did with the Mugen Train that came out in 2020, 2021 was they came out with the movie and then they split it up and added more scenes to turn it into the first half of the second season.
Okay.
If the pattern goes like the previous movie, I would say you're probably safe to watch this and skip the retelling episodes because they made sensible cuts. Let's just say.
Ah, okay.
But anyways, this is what if they could barely fight off Cocaine Bear, guarantee they will not fight this off unless Crunchyroll did something stupid like only put it in 1,000 theaters or something like that.
Yeah. Which, I
It's
wouldn't put it past them.
Crunchyroll is quite good at snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
uh, it's something they have in common with Marvel.
Hmm.
So I think that's the end of our topics for the week.
Yes, I do too.
Pour one out for